And at the closing of the day, the broad stream bore her far away. And as the boat had wound along, they heard her singing her last song, The Lady of Shalott.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember that?
Sure I do. Of course I do.
Megan Follows is with us, of course, of Anne of Green Gables fame, but you're here to do a play. So let's talk about the play first, because it's they're calling it a dark comedy. It's called This, and it's at the Playhouse starting tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about it. From what I can gather through the play, it's basically a sort of people who are about to go from those sort of wild 20s and early 30s into trying to become adults. Would that be a way to describe it?
I think that, yeah, there's an element of that. And certainly there's a couple that have just become parents.
Right.
And so we are sort of in big periods of transition in the piece.
Yeah. So how did this come about? Because I know you don't live here. You live in Toronto and L.A. So how did this whole thing happen that you're out here in a play?
Well, I was very lucky because Max, who was the artistic director of Vancouver Playhouse, and Ami Gladstone, our director, had thought about me for the piece, and so they sent me the script, and I read it, and I really got a great hit off of it, and I thought it was something I'd like to jump into, and so that's why I'm here. What
was it that after you read it, that you thought, this is a great character for me?
I just like the journey of the character. we just had our first stumble through last night, and we were sort of tech dressing, so it's all kind of, I'm still figuring it out, to be honest,
sure.
What it is, the character exactly, and why I love her. But she's just someone who's lost. Mm-hmm. And we go through those big transitions in life and different, as we move from one chapter into another.
Sure.
And certain things that define us. And the play, there's the themes of death and adultery, which are two themes that kind of can hit you when you...
No kidding.
Yeah. Now that's a... Well, how does that affect you? Come on.
No, not me. No, honey.
Yeah.
My wife at home is going, what?
What?
Yeah.
Rewind.
Now, have you done a lot of stage work before, and do you like that kind of work? Because it's obviously very different from working in television.
Yes, it is definitely...
Like night and day.
Yeah, it's very different. It's very different, and then in another way, it's not different at all, because ultimately it's about performing and telling a story.
Sure.
And it's just a different medium and a different process through which we do those two things. But I have done a fair amount of theatre in the last little while. I've worked a lot with Soul Pepper Theatre Company in Toronto. So I've done in the last 5 years, been a member of their company, and done a number of different shows. So I really do love the theatre. My parents are theatre actors.
Is that right? Okay.
I grew up in the theatre.
Yeah, we have a lot of big fans of theatre here, and they're very excited that you're here in this play.
Excellent. Come out and see us.
Yeah, Olivia outside, we asked her, we were looking for some stuff to show this morning, and she brought up her whole collection. She apparently has every Anne of Green Gables thing ever made.
Right.
So, and Sophie, who unfortunately couldn't be here, my co-host, is also a huge fan as well. You must get that a lot, people who are big fans of the show and just continue on and see you in that character.
You know what, it's definitely was an amazing show. It had a huge impact on people, and I find that I get really a wonderful response. It's very loving and very supportive, and then I find that people are really supportive and coming out exactly like this to this. There's the play title there, right there. And so it's a nice history to have with people.
Do you look back on it and think to yourself, because it's been voted many, many times as one of the most iconic characters in Canadian television, and the show itself is one of the greatest. I mean, you just look back and think, when you guys were making it, you obviously don't think, in 10, 15 years this is going to continue to be huge, but it really was such a show that was making a huge impact with people.
Well, I think that they knew most definitely that the bar was going to be set pretty high, given what the material was.
Sure.
You were dealing with this famous Canadian classic piece of literature.
Sure.
So in that regards, nobody was casual about that. Mm-hmm. We knew that it was that there was going to be a lot of expectations on what it was, and there certainly were, because when we were when we were starting out to film, I mean, people were already. We had to do some stuff we shot quite a bit of it in Ontario, which didn't go over very well in terms of the Maritimes, understandably so. And we did shoot some stuff in the Maritimes, but a lot of it was shot in Ontario. And already people, Anne of Scarborough, that was the first sort of bit of press junket that came out, and we thought, okay, this is what we're up against. We're up against people are just waiting to see that this isn't going to work. And we made it work.
Well, it was a great series, that's for sure, and we're really excited to see you in the play. Again, it's at the Vancouver Playhouse. It begins tomorrow, and if you want to go, tickets are available at vancouverplayhouse.com. It's called This, and check it out. And just before you go, we got an email a little while ago, and this was from a woman who grew up in New Brunswick, and just as you talked about, said, this is our show. So she has a baby girl whose name is Sawyer, and she sent this in, and she said, you have to show it to her. So there it is. How good is that?
That's good, Sawyer.
Yeah, that's Sawyer. So there you go.
That is really good.
So another fan, just like that.
Excellent.
Well, thanks very much for being here. It's great to meet you.
Well, lovely to meet you.
And continued success as well.
Excellent.
Thanks very much. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back in a couple minutes. Stay with us.